Hey, I'm Kev, welcome back to MotoGP 17 and the rider careers. Patrick McDonald is rolled in the middle part of this season. Can it continue around KTM's home race in Spielberg? And what a damp homecoming round the Red Bull Ring here in Austria. As Patrick McDonald gears up for 2 laps around the pouring rain. Well, he won't survive if he does that again in the final corner. And he's got to be a bit high on the bike. So here we go, 2 laps around the Red Bull Ring in pouring rain for the first time as well that we have seen. And it's already going very well in the first corner. What a beautiful scenery though. That's one thing you definitely do remember around the undulating layout, but you've got very tight corners for motorbikes around it. Very tricky to keep the bike upright and keep the speed through quite a few of these corners. But it's also very quick as well. From first corner to the second corner, from the last to the first, from the second corner down to the third corner. Here we go. Well, it could be the 4th corner of the motorbike. Of course, you have that kink before that tight uphill right-hander. Patrick McDonald has been flying on this KTM. And in conditions he loves, we expect him to be right up there once again in qualifying at least. Could it dry out like it did in Assen? We'll find out. Was it Assen? I'm thinking of the wrong race, aren't I? For the race earlier this season, I think it was actually France, wasn't it? So go downhill into the penultimate corner, nicely hooking up that apex. Now into the final corner. Taking a bit of a wide line. Well, he survives and goes across the line with a 34.5. Which is probably a decent amount of time. Let's see if he can go faster. As he nails that first corner. As the other competitors start to come out. Maybe a bit too late. If he went out right at the beginning of the session. You know, the track was a bit drier. Even with this pouring rain. McDonald's a bit faster. 6/10 up as he goes behind a Mark VDS bike and falls immediately. So does Bagnaia. And that ends it for McDonald as he ends up down the 3rd row in a wet qualifying session. He's not hit by a country mile. What is going on here with Nakagami in 7th, Shirota in 9th, as Albi ran out of the top 10 with Baldassare, Piscini and Oliveira on the 2nd row. But on the front row it is Thomas Luthi reigning supreme, the Swiss rider. And effectively his home round as well, along with France. Then we've got Marquez and Morbidelli in 2nd and 3rd. 13,000 and 79 thousandths of a second back behind the Interwetten machine. Of course, it was quickest. It's got wet in the name. As looking further back, we have got Ika right at the rear. So let's see what Patrick McDonald can do in the race. I see it's still pouring it down on race day. Look how wet this track is on the prize to racing, as there is the orange crush in 8th. Definitely has been the orange crush. Let's see if we can make it 5 from 5. As looking further down, you've got huge stops, but it's almost everywhere on the grid. Amazing how it doesn't really change throughout the season. As right at the back, you've got your usual. So Locatelli, Manzi, and Ika. So we are revving up the engine, wait for the lights to appear. And go out for this 7-lap race. And a superb start. Spassini gets bogged down. There goes McDonald going for the lead into the first corner, getting the whole shot for KTM, for Red Bull. And he grabs the lead from the Mark VDS Straight Galizia bike. I believe that is Morbidelli right on his tail. Let's head towards the 3rd corner. It was. As now here comes Marquez to try and dive down the inside. They're 3 wide into the hairpin. But they all survive. Marquez gets up into 2nd, does he? Yes, he does. With Olivier up to 3rd, making a double KTM podium with Morbidelli off the podium. That'd be very good for the championship. Just like the last race in the Czech Republic in Brno. That was crazy. As now Olivier up to 2nd ahead of Marquez. KTM 1-2. Could not have drawn up this first lap better for the constructor. for the home sponsors for Red Bull. As we go into the middle section. McDonald a bit faster, it seems, once again in these wet conditions. Of course, the final couple of corners, what it calls that final corner, he's going to have to be very cautious. As he is hitting all the apexes though. Bit better in some corners than others. As he survives the final corner. As he go on to the second lap. A handsome lead already. Of 1.3 seconds. Marcus slotting into third. As it's a bit wide into first corner. But Mackie D survives. And if he makes it 5 from 5 on this KTM, 7 in a row, he almost has one hand on the title already. And we've still got 7 rounds remaining. Including Silso next up as well. Marcus gets past Oliveira for second. And their battle for third in the championship, remember. And Morbidelli's just battling to cling on to McDonald in this title race. And then he is up into third ahead of Oliveira. Oh, he's been taken by the Mark VDS trins this lap. To go through these very tricky left-handers. That corner perhaps the trickiest on the circuit, being a blind left-hander. Can't see that apex. He's just chucking the bike in open. You're close. And if you're good, most of the time you are. If you're not, it really does cost you time in that middle section. But it's a 3.2 gap over Marcus. He has to have been battling behind. But still impressive from McDonald at the top. There's Morbidelli up to second head of Marcus. Morbidelli also being sucked into that battle for third with Marcus and Oliveira. Could become a battle for second if he doesn't watch out, the Italian. With a 33-1 from McDonald, goes a bit wide in the first corner. I don't think the officials will mind in these conditions. Very easy to outbrake yourself, to mess up, to run wide. The bike squirming under the brakes. So a 3.2 gap. Let's go out the hairpin, down the hill. Bit of a Sunday ride again from McDonald with Marcus up to second ahead of Morbidelli. That's what we like to see from Alex. Putting up a fight against his teammate as well. I'm sure Mark VDS are very happy about that. Morbidelli being ahead in the championship just. And he quite rightfully, in his eyes, takes back that second place. 4.4 seconds behind McDonald though. Just on the third lap. Taking it over a second on the field. This is more like in wet conditions from Patrick McDonald. Even though you see in the sky, it looks like it wants to dry up. It's like sunshine trying to poke through, but it's losing the fight. Let's go for the final corner. Oh, McDonald down. Feared that would happen as Mark is up to second head of Morbidelli. Still picks up his bike and retains the lead as he goes into the fourth lap. But now it'll be a bit closer behind, less than a second to Marquez. Let's see if we can keep it upright. But he can't in the first corner, again running slightly wide. And see that front tyre heavily worn as well after that crash. As oh, there goes Pons down from 21st. Well, not the only fall in these conditions. Go up the hill into the hairpin, running slightly wide. Such a clumsy corner on a motorbike. As Morbidelli gets ahead of Marcus into second. That's halfway through this race. The battle for second seems to be the major one on this. In this race is all McDonald runs slightly wide. Curbing that inside curb and that right hand. You don't want to be going over the curbs too much in these conditions. So easy to spin up the wheels. Putting the power down. As all McDonald runs slightly wide, drifting the bike wide into that first left-hander. Just about holds on though. Now into the next left. Got to straighten up that, pick up the bike quickly as you go through the right. Keep it flat out even in these conditions. to approach the final couple of corners. Then again, a blind corner, this penultimate corner. Just as tricky as that left hand in the middle sector, because again it's blind. McDonald again just about surviving the final corner. As we go into the 5th lap. Back into the 33s and back to almost 2-second leads. Let's see if we can make the first corner. He finally can. You know, kind of locked up the fronts. It's all Marquez up into second of Morbidelli. Where is Oliveira? Normally he comes on strong in races by now, but maybe he shot his shot on the opening of that. Oh, a bit of a hop from McDonald, but he can afford it in the lead. He builds it back up. Look at that big crowd on the left-hand side. That's right, the Orbital Redder coming out to see the MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 stars. Still downhill into the right, slightly outbraked himself as once again Morbidelli passes Marquez. What a battle between the Mark VDS pair behind. Changing percentages every corner. No wonder they've dropped back by 2.6 seconds. By over a second and a half in the space of a lap and a half. So going into the second left-hander, picking the bike up quickly. And there is the blue sky. Look at that in front. But still, it's raining like a hell over the circuit. As McDonald down in the penultimate corner. That's not the final corners we expect him to fall. Still maintains his lead as Olivia up ahead of Marquez. And now into the back of his teammate. So we've got a battle for the lead now heading on to the penultimate lap. As it is Morbidelli leaving, Olivia second, McDonald third. Marquez in 4th. McDonald quickly by his teammate Oliveira. And he's got a superb run on Morbidelli out of the corner. As they go side by side. McDonald takes back the lead. It goes towards the 3rd corner. Locking the rears, he's down again. Look at the bike, it has gone to hell with all of these falls. No wonder Marquez can't get this thing stopped, or McDonald can't. Yeah, he's got no grip, he's got half a bike that's damaged to all hell, and he's just going down everywhere. Will McDonald even score points this race after being in charge for most of it? As Shirota down from 12th behind. Danny Kent down from 17th, as you've got Piscini in front, the Italian. Got Bagnaia behind in 9th. Let's see what McDonald can do. Well, he's diving down the inside Piscini. The Italian isn't even there. Oh, but he fights back on the exit. You're all going over those curves that you don't want to be doing. Now into the penultimate corner. Can he actually survive it this time? He can. Now the final corner. That's the biggest question, if he can survive this. He can. Does he go across the line onto the final lap? Can he? Grab even a top 5 as they're battling in front. That could slow them down. Even with his mangled bike. As he outbrakes himself into the 1st corner. Rejoins behind Piscini. He's going to give him some good slipstream up the hill. Towards this tight right-hander. He's next to the inside. Piscini cuts him off. McDonald just outbraking him. And gets him on the exit or they touch. He loves a good battle, does the Italian. Spending it once again here in Austria with half a lap to go. Donald trying to dive down the inside. He's outbraked himself though. Having to accelerate around the outside. He joins in 10th though. He's in a top 10. And this could make the championship interesting again if Morbidelli's winning this. As he got Marini in front, Quartararo behind. And Ika down from 30 seconds. And Zavi down from 6th in front. There is the Tech 3. He's got Manzi. Right at the back probably. There's Gardner up to 11th ahead of his teammate. He's going to the final couple of corners. got McDonald behind Marini. Haven't we seen this before in Moto2? This time this McDonald survives that final because Morbidelli does win. And Patrick McDonald crossed the line in 9th. What a horrible result after such a good race in the first half. Just went to pieces over a couple of laps. He did the fastest lap by a country mile as Morbidelli just went instead of De Vieira. Great race from the Portuguese rider on home turf with Marquez in 3rd, Luti 4th, Baldassarri 5th, Pastini 6th, Bednar 7th, Marini 8th. Quartaro ran out top 10. Remy Gardner having a good race, the Australian, with Alex Vinales 12th. Savvy in 13th despite that final lap full. Raffin in 14th. Those Interweta machines are good in these conditions, with Agata grabbing the final point ahead of Simone Corsi by around a second and a half, with Ika at the back. So in the championship, Morbidelli closes to less than a race win behind McDonald. 19 points separates the pair, with Marquez in for 20 points behind his teammate. And 18 ahead of Olivia, with Luti reclaiming a top 5 position ahead of Pastini by 3 points, with Marini into the top 10 ahead of Nakagami by 8 points. As further down, you've got Remy Gardner up to 16th, 3 points ahead of Brad Binder, with Isaac Vinales in 18th ahead of Marcel Schrotter and Danny Kent, and Sandro Cortese, with Raffin up to 22nd with his first point scores of the season, ahead of Xavier Simon in 23rd, as Locatelli at the bottom of the standings as well, ahead of Ika and Jorge Navarro up to 23rd, ahead of Nakashima, Hernandez and Edgar Pons. As in the constructors' standings, a 45-point lead for Kalex over KTM, with Tech 3 in for 29 points ahead of Suter, just 70 points ahead of Speed Up. So no reputation really earned for Patrick McDonald from Austria. Let's see if he can bounce back in Great Britain and the fast Silverstone circuit. Did the weather get mixed up between Austria and Silverstone? Normally it's not this bright and sunny in Great Britain, as Patrick McDonald prepares for 2 qualifying efforts around this pretty good circuit. Not as good as it used to be, but still, Patrick McDonald's on pole. That's all he really cares about. Let's see what can happen if he can bounce back from terrible second half of a race in Austria. He goes through Copse, nicely done in 3rd gear. Would have liked the rain here in Silverstone as well, but still, this KTM is a pretty damn good bike. So all is shown. As he goes through the left and right and left of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, which is a bit wide going into and a bit tighter for the bikes compared to the cars. He just about avoided cutting the grass there with that massive curb that heads onto the hangar straight. Now through Stowe. Once again, getting it down to 3rd gear. Very easy to lock up and lose the front end like we saw in Austria for McDonald. Down to Velden Club, a bit wide in the first spot. Picks up the apex in the second. Nice and smooth on the power through the final part. As you go past the Silverstone wing. Still a marvel of, I'm not sure it's architecture, but something. As you go through Abbey and Farm. 3rd and 4th gears. And then slow it down the village, sliding the bike in. Before we head into the loop. And out of the loop through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Virtually flat out and a bit wide. As now we've just got the final sector, which has been unchanged for quite a few years now. Over 20 of them. As you go through Brooklands. Then Nuffield, this long right-hander, which lasts forever. And then finally Woodcote. Still pretty damn fearsome on a bike. Flat out in a car. So it does a 205.9. That's a great banker, that. Let's see if we can be a bit quicker though. In the second effort, as everyone's now pouring out the bits. So we're kicking up the dirt, as you can see on the run to Maggots and Beckett's. Fighting with the bike on the braking. As we've got an Interweta machine in front. Nicolet's almost a quarter of a second faster than he was in his previous effort. As Luti has a 2:05 for that. Showing you he needs to be faster as he's getting slipstream off one of Luti's teammates down this hangar straight. Sure, the Interverter machine are very happy about that. As he goes McDonald diving down the inside, I believe that's Ika. Now head towards this tricky complex. Club and Vale. In all the apexes. Making sure he's not sliding in the rear though. And oh, he loses time, but still, he's his fastest lap so far. Quarter second behind Luti. Let's go for Abbey and Farm. Again, nice and smooth. Then into Village and the loop. In all the apexes as Nakashima goes down. Oh, the Japanese rider. Oh, he's pushing so hard. But to no avail. And he's right in the tail of Lutis by having a poor exit onto the Wellington Straight. One sector to go. Who will grab pole here? At least the top spot in qualifying so far. Would it be Lita? Would it be McDonald? As he chucks the bike out of the off-field. Bit slow to get on the power, but he's nice and smooth. Now through Woodcote. Going flat out, slightly wide. But it's not good enough. Luti is at the top. 2:05.2 for McDonald. So close. And that's good enough for the second row alongside his teammate Oliviera and Passini, with Marquez, Luti and Morbidelli grabbing the top spot by 100th of a second ahead of the Swiss rider. As Nakagami leads the third row ahead of Baldassare and Shirota, with Zabri rounding out the top 10 and Ika, Manzi and Lokate at the back. So let's see what Patrick McDonald can do in the race. Can he grab another victory? So we are looking at the grid with Morbidelli at the top spot. There's Orange Crush though, the duo in 4th and 6th. Behind, it could be a Mark VDS v KTM race once again, like we've seen many times since McDonald has joined the Austrian constructor. As looking further down, so we see on Bemused in 19th for the number 19. There's Brad Binder, the other KTM in 25th, leading the 9th for ahead of Hernandez and Pons. So we are revving up the engine, wait for the lights to appear. And go out for this 5-lap race. That's a fantastic start for McDonald on the inside. He's already jumped ahead of his teammate, trying to jump ahead of the Mark VDS as all he gets into Oliveira on the entry and exit of Cops. But he holds on to 4th. There's a bit more overhead. Look at this, there's clouds everywhere on race day, but no rain. This is McDonald trying to seize up Alex Marquez. Trying to go around the outside of the Spaniard, not going to work. Let's go through Chapel and on to the hangar straight. That's it, Slipstream City here. Who's going to be going to Dive Bomb City into Stowe? It's like no one. Or will it be McDonald as Marquez runs slightly wide? Trying to make a move. That Spaniard being a good back marker for his teammate. Morbidelli, who leads just ahead of Luti. Looks like Thomas going to be impatient in second. Here goes McDonald. Finally slips down the inside of Marquez. Marquez trying to get him back on the exit though. That's an elbow to elbow. Let's go towards Abbey. Donald takes third, almost takes second. Let's go through Farm. Looking down the inside of Thomas, he just leaves the gap open. Not slicing through the field like a knife through butter at the moment. Let's go to the end of this first lap. Oh, Luti down the inside into the loop. Nice move from the veteran. McDonald trying to do it into Aintree. Bit harsher against his ex-teammate. And he makes the move stick, and now it's just one man to beat. The man they're all chasing this season. The reigning champ Franco Morbidelli. And the man in McDonald is ahead so far this season. And a win here will put that gap up to almost a race win again. So a bit of breathing room for McDonald if he gets past the Italian in front. He runs slightly wide through Copse, so does Morbidelli. Almost identical lines from the pair with Luti. Dropping back from third as Alex Marquez makes the move in Copse. So McDonald, of course, he did the fast out and open at 2:08.3. And now he's catching Morbidelli and Maggots and Beckett. Catching almost that worst spot there at the end. As he's caught for second behind the Italian, but has a poor run through Chapel onto the hanger straight. He's losing out some valuable slipstream. Marquez might have gained on some. So watch out for the Spaniard into Copse, into Stowe, should I say. We've already done Copse. Doesn't have Trice on the single, that. It's down to Vale and Club. McDonald definitely stalking Morbidelli now. And they're part of this second lap. We make a move in the final path. As we saw on Marquez and Luti. Might do it into Abbey. He's got a superb run. Does it? Dives down the inside of the tyre. You don't often say a high gear third corner. High speed third gear corner, should I say. It's an ideal passing spot. It is for McDonald this race. You know, it goes wide in Village. That's Morbidelli back by, but he's aggressive into the loop. Bashes by his Italian. Back into the lead. As look at the clouds overhead. They really are building. Probably won't see rain this race, but won't be long before it does after this race. Pour down. There's Orbacini down from 6th. It's already pouring for the Italian. There's Morbidelli back in outfield. Down the inside, McDonald just has to let him by and run wide on the exit. As he goes flat out through Woodcote though. Takes back the lead as he crosses the line onto the third lap. 2:05.7 for McDonald, fastest lap and just ahead of Morbidelli with Marquez in third. Or should I say fourth, as Luti gets some revenge for the previous lap, back past Marquez. So McDonald runs wide through Maggots and Beckett. Let's see if we can have a good run down onto the hanger straight. That's much better through Chapel. But where's Morbidelli? He does have some good slipstream. Will he be making a move into Stowe? Wide open corner. A motorbike. Especially if you go over that bump and lock up the tyres. Which Lucy might have done as Marquez back into third. Here's the Oliviero again in all of this. Here goes Morbidelli into Vale and Club. McDonald having none of it though. Blocks the inside of this final part through the right hander. And holds up the Italian's first attack. What could be a race-long battle. As they're halfway through it. And there's still nose to tail. The top two in the championship, the class of the field this season. So go into the right-hander. Mostly clipping that apex into the left. And slightly wide. In for Aintree. Bit scruffy onto the Wellington straight, but 7/10 of a second lead over Morbidelli. Maybe getting some breathing with McDonald. No longer having someone breathing down his neck this race. And then he runs wide in the field and does that. Gets back to the apex before Morbidelli can sneak it down the inside. As they lift out the final corner through Woodcote. As he goes into the fourth lap. Still a 2:05. 2:05.8. The gap half a second to Morbidelli. As Oliviero, here he comes. He's finally appearing on the penultimate lap of the race. Up into third. Head of Marquez. Such a master Portuguese rider on these tyres. Sometimes leaves it too late though. Like he perhaps did in Austria. Still so close behind Morbidelli. Less than 1/10 of a second. As now McDonald has a 1.2 second lead over the Italian. Maybe his teammate can come to play for second. We made the Italian drop back in these final couple of laps. And McDonald to cruise to the finish. Like he was unable to do in Austria. Where he's just pushing and then pushed a bit too hard in this period of the race. On these medium tyres, tyre wear much better. In the wet in Austria with all those falls. The bike was half destroyed, the tyres were destroyed on that final lap. Only around, is that a third on the front? Almost half around the rear. Well, he goes slightly wide through Abbey. Then through Farm, nicely done, nice and smooth. And slightly wide into the right. We're a bit tighter into the left. It's the apex. In for Aintree onto the Bredington straight. That gap has remained the same to Morbidelli, just over a second. Now can McDonald hook up this final sector though? If he can, I suspect that gap will get a bit bigger against Morbidelli. And hopefully Oliveira can come to play as well. Let's see how the Portuguese ride, how far back he is. To go through Woodcote. And on to the final out of the race. And with another 2:05. Very consistent this race. Despite not nooking it. New fastest at 2:05.6. Less than a second ahead of Morbidelli. He actually gains back time in the final sector, does the Italian. Don't have the gap back to Oliveira. I'm sure he can't be that far back on the Mark VDS machine. This KTM set for another double podium, at least. There you go, McDonald, 1.2 seconds ahead of the Italian on this final lap. Just 3 sectors to go before he increases his championship lead once again. And then after this race, has a big decision to make. To go through Stowe. Third gear, slightly wide. Perhaps got it down to second, but again, those tyres are getting a bit worn. So go through Felden Club. Hitting all the apexes now. He's definitely in the rhythm. There's McDonald round here. He's got half a lap to go. He's around a second of Morbidelli. Italian's clinging on. These last couple of laps. They're not able to get away. So the Italian not merely breathing down his neck. Just keeping a watching brief. You know, it does mess up. Just go through the loop. Through Aintree on to the Wellington straight gap. Just a 10th game by McDonald. Yeah, they are not doing anything in third though. Not as Marquez or Luti behind. Luti might have dropped back, as he often does in races. To go through Luffield though, for the final time. Hooking up the apex, hugging it like his favourite granny to now. Well, they have no chance of sneaking down the inside. As through Woodcote. There's a win again for McDonald. A great result after Austria as he celebrates. Sliding wide. Through Cop says he's over a second ahead of Morbidelli. He's 1.4 cents ahead of Oliveira. No wonder we saw no movement in the top 5 with only Luti breathing down the neck of Marquez. Not following that 4th. Then we've got Baldassari in 6th, Bagnaia 7th, Sabi 8th, Marini 9th, Nakagami 10th, Corto 11th, Remy Garner with good points again on the Tech 3 in 12th, Axel Pons 13th, Schwarzer 14th, and Piscini snatches a point ahead of Agata by 0.3 of a second despite his fall. As at the back it is Pauli. Danny Ken in 32nd in his home race. So in the championship, McDonald leads by 24 points ahead of Morbidelli at the 2/3 mark of the season, with Marquez over 2 race wins behind, 51 points back in 3rd and 15 points ahead of Olivier, with Luti in 5th, 40 points behind the top 4 and definitely out of it now, with Piscini 13 points behind the Swiss rider in 6th, just 15 points ahead of Baldassari in 7th. Then we got Bagnaia further 15 points back in 8th. Then Zavi in 9th, and Marini rounding out the top 10, 9 points ahead of Nakagami. As further back, we got Shorter up to 18th ahead of Isaac Vinales. And then constructors standings, a 40-point gap between Calix and KTM, with Tech 3 in 3rd, 35 points ahead of Suter, who are 19 points ahead of Speed Up. And yes, that winning theme returns to Patrick McDonald. 5 wins in 6 races on the KTM. Pretty shocking, the only failure has been at the manufacturer's home race, as that's more like a reputation riser as well. Look at all of that earned. As now, Patrick McDonald's got to make a decision. Does he stick with the Red Bull KTM team, or does he step up to MotoGP where he can ride for Suzuki backwards? Or does he move to a different Moto2 team in this title battle? Does he join Marc VDS, be alongside Morbidelli and Marquez? Or does he go to Ford Racing, Pons, RW Racing alongside Axel Pons, this Sky Racing team? And looking further back, there is the Tech 3 racing bike. Or he could even be on the speed up bike. Where is the speed up with Simone Corsi? There it is. And Bazzani. Should he join speed up? Try and make them into winners. That is got a better team performance than the Tech 3 bike, even though Xavi and Remy Gardner have been much better on that bike. Let's go to speed up. And let's go to one of the home races next time out round the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. Then the third visit to Spain, round the Motor Aragon Circuit. Can Patrick McDonald make this speed up racing bike, which has been very good in Simone Corsi's hands, a consistent point scorer, into a race win in the final third of the season, maybe even a championship winner as well? Let's find out next time. South watching, I'll see you then.